For years, people called it the world's safest train, a machine so advanced, so perfectly engineered, that experts believed it was almost impossible for it to fail. Passengers trusted it without a second thought. Engineers treated it as a masterpiece, and officials proudly described it as a system built so intelligently that accidents simply could not happen. But one ordinary morning, without warning, that belief was shattered. The train that was too safe to fail, failed. It was a calm weekday morning. There was no storm, no unusual traffic, no warning signs at all. Hundreds of passengers stepped onto the train like they had done 1,000 times before. Some were on their way to work, others were returning home, and many were just starting their day. The train pulled out of the station smoothly, its engines humming with perfect stability. Inside the control room, every display showed green. Speed normal, temperature normal, pressure normal, everything was exactly the way it should be. But beneath the train, hidden deep under the carriage where no human eye could see, a small problem had already begun. A tiny connector, a piece of hardware no larger than a thumb, had slowly loosened over the years. Not enough to trigger an alarm, not enough to show up during routine inspections, just enough to start a chain reaction that none of the sensors could detect. This connector helped keep a wheel rotation sensor perfectly aligned, and if that sensor's alignment shifted even a little, it could read the wrong data. In this case, it began sending signals that the wheel was slipping, even though the tracks were completely dry and perfectly safe. For a while, nothing noticeable happened. The train sped forward like always. Passengers relaxed in their seats. Some were reading, some sleeping, some staring out the window at the passing scenery. But then came the first tiny shudder. Most passengers felt nothing more than a soft bump, the kind you would ignore. Yet inside the train's computer system, that tiny vibration created chaos. The wheel sensor suddenly reported a drop in rotation speed. It insisted the wheels were slipping, but other sensors said everything was normal. The train's AI became confused, and when advanced systems get confused, they don't take risks. They assume the worst. Inside the main processor, different safety modules started disagreeing. One insisted there was wheel slip, another said nothing was wrong, a third could not determine which one was correct. And when the system enters this state of uncertainty, it activates protective measures. First, it prepared to slow the train gently, but due to the misaligned sensor, the computer believed the train had already begun slowing, even though it hadn't. That caused the system to jump directly to the final safety stage, the emergency brake. Without any warning to the passengers, without any announcement from the driver, the world's safest train suddenly slammed into a full emergency stop. People were thrown forward in their seats. Coffee spilled across floors. Bags tumbled from racks. Those standing had to grab poles and rails to avoid falling. No one knew what was happening. The driver tried to regain control, but the system had completely locked itself. The computer sent conflicting messages. Wheel slip detected. Wheel slip not detected. Brake active. Brake inactive. In response, the train entered its ultimate safe mode, a complete shutdown of all driving controls. The train sat there for nearly half an hour before engineers were able to manually reboot the entire system. When they finally inspected the machinery, everyone expected a major mechanical disaster. Instead, they found the tiny, loosened connector, a flaw so small that experts later said you'd need a magnifying glass to notice it. But that was all it took. One tiny misalignment, one confused sensor, and one automated safety protocol reacting faster than any human could. The final report was shocking. It revealed that the failure wasn't caused by a big mechanical issue. It wasn't caused by negligence or a major technical defect. It was caused by a microscopic flaw hidden inside a system so advanced that it ended up outsmarting itself. The safety system reacted exactly the way it was designed to. It chose the safest possible response to uncertain data. Ironically, the world's safest train failed because it was trying to keep everyone safe. The investigation changed modern rail safety forever. Engineers redesigned connectors to resist long-term vibration. They improved stress testing procedures, added new layers to prevent conflicting sensor data, and introduced human override windows during emergency stops. And since that day, no similar incident has ever occurred again. The story became a reminder that even the most advanced systems, even the ones considered too safe to fail, can collapse because of the smallest overlooked detail. Sometimes, the tiniest weakness in the most perfect machine becomes the biggest wake-up call.